the king of the field. We know Baro as this stubborn, bulky, and just negative overall striker, but having these traits, how far will he make it in Blue Lock? Although you probably think he isn't likely to go far, we may not even be scratching the surface of his dark potential. By the end of this video, we will figure out if he is destined for greatness or doomed for eternity. And to figure that out, we have to understand what makes Baro a standout striker in Blue Lock and why his strengths could give him a serious edge. Looking at his physical power, Baro's strength on the field is undeniable. He's built like a literal tank, and that presence alone changes the way others have to play against him. Most defenders can't just tackle him or push him off the ball. They have to work around him or risk getting completely laid out. His physical dominance gives him an advantage that only a few other players can match, setting him up as a force that other players have to actively prepare for. However, beyond his strength, there's his confidence. Baro believes in himself to an absolute certainty. His mentality goes deeper than regular self-assurance. It's more like he sees himself as destined to lead and conquer on the field. In Blue Lock, where the pressure to perform can break even the most seasoned players, this self-belief keeps him steady. He doesn't get rattled, doesn't second-guess himself. That kind of mental toughness makes him almost immune to the fears and doubts that might hold others back, which may lead him to greatness in the future. On top of that, there's his relentless drive to be the best. Baro doesn't get satisfied with just winning. He wants to dominate. He doesn't vision his opponents as potential allies or teammates. They're only rivals standing in his way. This mindset fits perfectly with Blue Lock's philosophy, where everyone competing for their survival in the program. Baro's ambition pushes him to train harder, focus more intensely, and fight until he's at the very top. His need to stand out in success fuels him in every match, making him a fierce competitor who won't let anyone else outshine him. Now, all of these qualities, his physical power, unshakable confidence, and intense drive, make Baro one of the strongest contenders in Blue Lock. But there's a flip side to these strengths. His king mentality might clash with Blue Lock's demands for flexibility and teamwork, which we'll explore further. For now though, it's clear that Baro's got the tools to dominate, even if there are risks lurking in his approach. And as we know with strengths on one side, there's always weaknesses on the other. And one of Baro's defining traits is his refusal to cooperate. He's fiercely independent, often seeing himself as separate from and even above his teammates. In his mind, he's the king, and everyone else is there to support his game, not the other way around. This approach can make him a difficult player to work with. In Blue Lock, where players are constantly being pushed to adapt and work together in creative ways, Baro's refusal to compromise stands out as a major flaw. His my way or the highway attitude can and will create friction, especially when teamwork could be the key to progressing through the competition. And with that, there's his controlling mentality. Baro wants to call the shots and dictate the game on his terms. He's not interested in playing second fiddle to anyone, and this can clash with the dynamic nature of Blue Lock. The program isn't designed for players to stick with one rigid style. It's all about evolving and adapting to new challenges. Baro's king mentality makes him resistant to change, which is risky in an environment that rewards versatility and punishes predictability. He can't just adjust his mindset. He may find himself at odds with the very structure of Blue Lock, making it super hard for him to truly thrive. So conclusively, these weaknesses don't just hold him back, they're actively undermining his potential. His independence and need for control make him unpredictable in ways that can hurt his team and ultimately his own chances. But while his strengths make him a powerful player, his weaknesses create tension. They're the cracks in his armor that raise a question. Can he really succeed in a place that demands both individual skill and team adaptability? With both his strengths and weaknesses laid out, the real test comes when Baro faces a high-stakes challenge. It's in these pressure-filled moments that we see whether his strengths can overcome his flaws, or if his mindset will ultimately be his downfall. Now, we've reached the crucial point, the ultimate test of Blue Lock. This high-stakes moment brings everything to the surface. His raw strength, his relentless drive, his overpowering confidence, and crucially, his stubborn refusal to adapt. In this test, Baro is pushed into a scenario where he's not the only powerful player on the field. His opponents are just as strong, equally ambitious, and just as ruthless. Here, brute force alone won't be enough. He's up against players who are also skilled in reading each other's moves, forming split-second alliances, and adapting to any strategy thrown their way. This intense pressure forces each player to choose between sticking to their own methods or evolving to overcome overcome the opposition. For Baro, this situation is both a threat and an opportunity, a moment that demands he either grow or risk losing everything he's fought for. In the beginning, he tries to impose his style on the game, focusing on players the way he always has. He holds on to his king mentality, trying to control the game on his own terms. But in this environment, that stubborn independence begins to work against him. His refusal to cooperate or adjust becomes a liability, with his teammates unable to rely on him for support or coordinated plays. It's clear that his strengths aren't just enough on their own. His overwhelming presence isn't the unstoppable force it seemed to be, and his confidence, while impressive, doesn't bring him the instant results he expects. Now, as the test goes on, Baro faces a choice: stick to his usual tactics and risk elimination, or confront the reality that his king mentality may not be enough to keep him in the competition. This is the make or break moment, the one where he has to decide whether he's willing to adapt or set aside his ego and let go of some control. If he does, there's a chance he could unlock a new level of potential and find a way to integrate his strengths with the need of his team. If he doesn't, his refusal to change may be his downfall. This ultimate test shows us whether Baro's defining traits, his strength, confidence, and independence, are adaptable enough to carry him through Blue Lock's ruthless competition. It's a moment of truth where the outcome will finally reveal if Baro has the capacity to evolve or if his mindset will cost him everything. With this intense test, we come to the heart of the question: can Baro survive and thrive in Blue Lock, or will his own nature stand in his way? This leads us directly to our final verdict of his potential. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the final verdict. Can Baro truly succeed in Blue Lock, or will his mindset be his undoing? Throughout this video, we've seen both the remarkable potential and the dangerous flaws that define Baro as a player. On one hand, his physical power, unshakable confidence, and relentless drive are traits that make him a formidable competitor. He has the strength to overpower opponents, the self-belief to withstand intense psychological pressure, and the ambition to push himself beyond his limits. These qualities seem almost tailor-made for the high-stakes world of Blue Lock, where individual skill and resilience are everything. But as we've also seen, these strengths come with a significant downside: his controlling king mentality, his refusal to adapt, and his insistence on playing as a lone wolf create friction within a system that demands flexibility and collaboration. Blue Lock isn't a typical team environment, but it does push players to be versatile, to read and respond to others, and sometimes even to work together strategically. Baro's unwillingness to cooperate or consider any approach but his own isolates him, making him less adaptable and ultimately less effective in situations that require quick adjustments and teamwork. So what's the verdict? Baro has what it takes to succeed physically, mentally, and in terms of sheer ambition, but only he can let go of his rigid king mentality. His potential is undeniable, but his flaws are equally significant. To truly thrive in Blue Lock, he needs to evolve and embrace adaptability, and to realize that even the strongest players sometimes need to work with others. Whether Baro will succeed isn't just about his skills, but about his willingness to change. If he can do that, he can go far in Blue Lock, but if he can't, his own pride may be what stands between him and the top. This is the critical question that Baro will have to answer for himself, and it's what keeps us watching, wondering if he'll rise to his full potential or fall short due to his own choices. You guys will have to decide in the comments, but as far as my opinion goes, I unfortunately believe he is doomed. For more amazing content like this, hit that subscribe button. I know you see it down there. And hey, if you want to be notified on my upcoming content, guess what? YouTube made a cool little bell button that you can click after you've subscribed. Anyway, enough of that. I hope you enjoyed your stay, and goodbye for now.